China has nuclear ambitions. That could lead to a new arms race. How will the US and Russia respond? Welcome back to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. China is aggressively expanding its nuclear weapons capacity, and that's making the United States nervous. Also Russia. Also me. Since the end of the Cold War, the US and Russia have been reducing their strategic nuclear arsenals. First, there was the 1991 START Treaty between the US and the Soviet Union. Each side was allowed only 6,000 nuclear warheads. Only 6,000. That's barely enough to destroy the Earth 600 times each. Then in 2010, President Barack Obama came up with the new START Treaty. That lowered it to 1,550. And that's barely enough to destroy the Earth 150 times each. But while the US and Russia have been working to reduce their nuclear weapons stockpile, China is working to double theirs. According to the nonpartisan, nonprofit Nuclear Threat Initiative, China closely guards information about its nuclear arsenal, making estimation unusually difficult. However, China has approximately 290 nuclear warheads. But China's nuclear ambitions don't stop at just nuclear warheads. According to the Defense Intelligence Agency, last year, China launched more ballistic missiles for testing and training than the rest of the world combined. It's like Chinese parenting. If the other kids in class get an A, you need to get an A+. If other kids are testing ballistic missiles, you bury them with the skulls of 8 generations of their ancestors. At least, that's what Shelley told me her parents used to teach her. She's not fun to play Risk with. In a military parade in 2019, China rolled out a new road mobile ICBM. That's an intercontinental ballistic missile. They also have a new multi-warhead version of their silo-based ICBM.
The DN-41 is an intercontinental strategic nuclear missile. Its purpose is for both balancing power and securing victory.
And in 2020, they rolled out submarines capable of carrying nuclear-tipped ballistic missiles, as well as a nuclear-capable strategic bomber, which would complete China's ability to launch a nuke from land, sea, or air, called the nuclear triad. The nuclear triad, a melody of destruction. Tensions between the US and China are already extremely high. It's being called Cold War II. So it only makes sense that Cold War II also have a nuclear arms race. It just wouldn't feel like a Cold War without it. Hey, maybe this means we'll get good James Bond movies again. Oh no, Hollywood has been bought off by China. The new James Bond will probably be fighting alongside his Chinese partner against some Western imperialist. What's surprising about China's nuclear buildup is that China currently participates to some degree in all of the multilateral regimes dedicated to the non-proliferation of chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear weapons. Now you might think, wait, isn't China known for violating international agreements? But you've got to see it from the Chinese Communist Party's perspective. Only by being involved in the treaties can they pressure other countries to reduce their chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party still does whatever it wants. And it makes sense for them to expand their nuclear capacity. After all, Russia and the US supposedly have only about 1,500 nuclear warheads. Even if China doubles theirs, that would only bring it up to about 600 or so. The problem is that affects how both the US and Russia handle their own nuclear armaments. The new START Treaty, that's the US-Russia treaty that limits nuclear warheads, is coming up for renewal in February 2021. And President Trump has said he might not renew it if China doesn't join. And China doesn't want to join. So if Trump is still president in 2021, he might try to make the US stockpile even bigger. If it's President Joe Biden, he'll probably just put Corn Pop in charge of the whole nuclear malarkey. According to Dr. James Anderson, the acting Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, The less we know about what China is doing and why, the more the United States must rely on worst-case scenarios to size its nuclear forces accordingly. Russia probably feels the same, even though Xi Jinping gave Putin a best friends medal. So even though China doesn't have as many nukes as the US or Russia, by trying to expand its arsenal, it could set off a nuclear arms race involving the United States and Russia, and perhaps encourage other nuclear powers to increase their forces to keep pace. And ironically, this could actually bring Russia and the US closer together to try and stop China's nuclear ambitions, which is amazing. Not only is the Chinese Communist Party bringing together Democrats and Republicans, it could also bring together the US and Russia. I wonder if Putin will give back his best friend's necklace to China. Probably not. And now is the time when I answer questions from you, my loyal 50-cent army. Fans of the show support what we do through the crowdfunding website Patreon. Eric asks, "Hello, Chris. Why are these lands important to the CCP? Is it a military advantage or natural resource, or is this just a temper tantrum from a bully?" Great question. That's in reference to the border conflict between India and China. There are a couple big reasons why China wants more territory near the border with India. First, it ties into China's interest in Tibet. The Himalayan mountains provide a natural border wall that makes a land invasion of China very difficult. So China wants to make sure it controls the area, especially since Tibet is a huge natural resource for China too. Second, the area also provides China easy access to India if it ever wanted to launch an invasion. In particular, China could seize control of the Siliguri corridor, cutting off India from its northeastern states. But beyond the practical considerations, I think you're right about the CCP being a bully throwing a temper tantrum. Things are going badly for the Chinese Communist Party, and I don't think it's a coincidence that it's choosing this time to become hyper-aggressive along the border with India, in the South China Sea, and with Taiwan. So thanks for your question, Eric. And for all of you watching, consider joining the China Uncensored 50-cent army. You'll have a chance to ask me questions on the show, and there are some other cool perks as well. Check out patreon.com/China Uncensored to learn more. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.